Good evening, and welcome to the Milsim Units Podcast, where we talk about Milsim gaming with unit commanders and community leaders. I'm C. Brock, and with us tonight is the man himself, LaFlash, the creator of Milsim Units. It's great to have you to kick off our first podcast.
Yeah, thanks, Brock. It's been been a whirlwind of a 2024. Kind of a lot of what this podcast is designed to do is to spotlight and really, you know, have these unit commanders, unit leaders, hop on, come join you as our host of our podcast. First, I'd like to say thank you for taking on the challenge of tracking down all the unit leaders, all the unit commanders, all those that might be a part of this in the near future, to sit down with yourself and get some content out for the podcast. The whole goal behind this podcast is really just to shine that light a little bit more on these units. Let them tell us in their own words what their unit is, and how they found it, and what's cool, what's unique about their group. I think it's a good way to also utilize this content that maybe via this podcast, and put that on their unit page on milsimunits.com. But appreciate you taking time and sitting down with me.
Well, thank you for that. I'm really looking forward to the challenge. I think it's going to be great to introduce more members of the greater Milsim community, to the wider world, to the rest of the internet, if you will, and bring together good people. It should be very entertaining and informative. And again, we'll have a lot coming up very soon. So, to kick off our first podcast here tonight, I got a few questions for you. So, let's start at the beginning. Um, Up front, what inspired you to start Milsim Units?
Well, I would say it was a lack of areas to recruit from for my milsim. Um, I've been a milsim unit leader for like a decade and a half. Um, running the unit that I do in Arma 3. It really came down to I didn't really see an area to that was useful when it comes to showcasing my unit, recruiting people into my unit, and really it just sprawled um, more from there. Being able to say, hey, I need, what's a good place. So there's competitive websites. There's other websites out there like that you can make a profile on. But it wasn't our niche, right? We're a milsim. We play the military simulation games, and there's the other competitor websites that you see out there are ones that support like more like Fortnite, right? Those types of games I saw on
Oh,
there, and
sure,
I mean
the
the
mass audience.
the what's the race car one where drive around with a ball, you um, there
Shoot, I don't even know. I
yeah,
guess I'm
there's a
totally out of the
soc
loop
there,
now.
there's a soccer one that's pretty big out there too. But there's a wide range of video games, right? So, but I wanted to build something that was more of our niche within milsims and being military games. So that's the stuff that you'll see on the website. Is it's military based games, first person shooters, and being able to continue to push that side. But that's one of the things that I noticed is that I just didn't have a recruitment area. And of course, there was a billion and a half different discords that you can go post your recruitment ad on. But the quick thing there is there's also a billion and a half different units using those same platforms, right? So as soon as post your recruitment ad, within seconds, within minutes, within an hour, that post isn't even on the first page anymore. It's just buried and buried and buried. No one ever sees your content. No one gets to see what your unit's about, because someone looking isn't going to scroll to the second or third or fourth page. And a lot of those have some requirements on them, those discords that say you can't post every 7 days or every 14 days. So like you post 14 days ago, your post is non-existent at that point. So I figured a platform that units can make profiles and showcase their units, um, it was be something beneficial for my unit that I'm in, but then also thinking wider and thinking how this can benefit the entire Milsim community as a whole is really what spawned the idea and the inspiration behind Milsim Units.
Outstanding. Yeah, bringing everyone together in a central point, kind of cutting through the info overload that really characterizes, the online or a lot of online communities anyway. So, can you tell us about the story behind the formation of Milsim Units? How did you get started with your operations and the growth up to this point?
Um, well, I would say, obviously the start would have been probably about 2 years ago is when I had that thought about, boy, we need a better system on recruitment. And I would say the startup was first finding a developer that could make my image in my head that I had for the platform be a website. And that developer, luckily, I was able to find Jake, which is our lead developer. Um, him being able to, have some background in Milsim himself, kind of that helps a little bit. Not too much, but he is obviously a full stack admin that has that skill set to be able to build anything, which has been, amazing. There's still a lot of trial and error. This is a fully customized website. It's not built by some predetermined, like free webs or PHP nuke website that has envisioned that kind of pre-build your website for you for the most part.
Yep.
But being able to, find that person was huge. Um, the startup behind it was really just envisioning, what we wanted as a recruitment area. Um, some of the things that we thought about was, first, of course, Arma. That was our first. That's the game we play. That's the bulk. In fact, out of the units that are on the platform right now, Arma's in the lead. If you actually look on the front of the website where it says trending games is just simply by how many units are um, in each game. So looking right now on the screen, you kind of see Arma's in first place, Armor of Forger second, Squad third, War of Rights fourth, Hell Let Loose. It just displays the top 10. Um, being able to, start off, it was a grind. A lot of the units out there, you know, we had nothing to show, right? It was kind of like the chicken and the egg experiment to where, you know, we need units to make profiles to be on the website so that we can turn around and market the website of a place to go find a unit from and draw in the individual people that are coming to find a unit, right? So you kind of need both at once, right? Nobody's going to sign up on the website, make a profile if they're not going to be getting any recruits out of it. So there was like the first phase of, okay, it's kind of the chicken and the egg. We need as many units as we can to sign up because obviously to turn around and market it, marketing costs a lot of money. Being able to turn around and um, use those search engine optimization, Google ads, whatever other social media ads that we could to be able to draw individuals in and market it as, hey, have you found your realism unit? Have you found your milsim unit? Have you found your chill sim unit for XYZ game, right, that we support? Um, so being able to grab the units first. Now, luckily, we are to the point to where the units are coming and coming and coming and coming by themselves with less and less I guess you would say door-to-door marketing, because the beginning months was 100% door-to-door marketing to where I had to knock on everybody's Discord and say, hey, please sign up. Come to the website, please sign up. Love to have you on the platform. um, you know Arma was a little easier, being my background in that for the last couple decades. But then getting into new games like Reforger, which was fairly new when we first started this thing. Squad, which I had no experience in playing too much at all. Things like War of Rights, Hell Let Loose, and Surge Sandstorm, those other games that, I haven't even installed. Like, I don't even own some of those games. So being able to get into those communities um, has been difficult. So being able to, um, find one unit. That's the way I'll pick War of Rights, because I know, Brock, you're in a War of Rights unit, and your unit's on the platform as well. But that was one of the main things, is that, trying to get into like a close net community like that. I'd say Arma's a pretty tight knit community, but Squad, same thing, Hell Let Loose. So a lot of these games that have been around a while kind of have to have that, because that's what truly keeps them going. Is the community itself. It's not the devs necessarily like updating the game, because some of these games haven't seen an update in a long time, that's on our platform. But it's really the community that keeps pushing that, and maybe the modders as well in Arma 3's state. Um, but being able to find a unit like in that um, category in that game, and kind of champion them as, hey, you're kind of the big dog, or you're the first one on the platform as well. Can you help us out? Go around and talk to your gaming buddies, your fellow community leaders, and at least get me in the room. Let me talk to them. And luckily we were able to secure some pretty good units, some really nice people to sit down, talk with me, give my little sales pitch to where I was selling nothing, right? We at this point there was no subscription tiers, there was nothing. It was a completely free profile, just like everything is now. But just getting them on the profile or on the website was step one to making this whole thing, from my brain as a vision to actually happening. So.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, I can tell definitely when I joined Milsim Units earlier this year till this point, I've seen you and Jake with all his work on the back end, putting in a lot of serious work, a lot of long hours. Really, I think the growth has been absolutely phenomenal. The communications, between units and the platform, has just grown and really developed. And I mean, you're right. The community is what makes a lot of these games. Arma 3, absolutely no doubt. Without the mods and the community that we have, Milsim, casual, whatever the case may be, it wouldn't be the same thing. It would be vanilla is nothing. But seeing all these Milsim units come together, working, communicating, growing, and developing. I mean, not only Milsim unit street cred, but their own in the greater community. It's being a Milsim guy. I mean, I think it is absolutely fantastic. It's a good thing for everybody involved, and it's got so much more potential. Coming up in the kind of the weeks and months ahead. Now, let me ask you, how has your own experience in Milsim Unit influenced your work here at Milsim Units? As a platform.
So I would say, my experience within my Arma unit played a very big role, because really I just modeled the website in things that I wish I had visible to me as a unit leader. So looking into like just all the way to just starting the profile, right? There's a lot of cool imaging and stuff like that. So a lot of units already have avatars or banners or patches, things like that you know in a Discord you really can't show off. You got great teams that do it. Some of these units have great websites, and no true way to show those websites off either. Other things are, being able to, I think about like our additional information, being able to really dive down into what your unit is, right? A milsim, a chill sim, a semi sim, the type of area you're from. Are you, location wise, are you international? Are you just focused in Europe, or are you just focused in the U.S. or or Australia? Being able to list like the essentials of what the operations of your unit looks like. I know we have like your number of people in your unit, your age, average age, or maybe even age requirement. I mean, um, your recruitment status, and then also like what's your servers? How can people really contact you? So whether that's what's your Discord, what's your TeamSpeak, what's your voice server, what's some of your game servers, and all that can be listed right on your profile, along with all your social medias, so that ideally, if someone finds your profile on our website, we want them to be able to have as much information to overview of your unit to decide, is this unit somebody I want to actually go contact? We also, of course, have what's your operation schedule? What do you get on in game with your people on? What time? Because I think joining a unit for any individual person has to be first, number one is what times do they play, and can I make those times? So being able to have those right out front with like what's your operation schedule, um, because you can't join a unit and if you can't be there, at least you won't be in there very long, because it won't benefit that unit very much, and it won't benefit you because you won't be playing with the people that you signed up to play with. So I think my experience within my unit is huge. Being able to say, hey, these are the things I think we need, to help showcase some of these great units that are on the platform.
All right. Well, let me use that as a starting point and spring forward. What can units do to foster a stronger sense of community among their members?
I would say, it all starts with obviously your leadership, being able to have, whether you're on the platform or not, if you're listening to this, if you haven't already, please go make a profile. The whole point of this is to kind of just showcase your unit, be able to have that the community within. I mean, I really, you just got to make it fun. You got to have a place that is consistent, that people can get off in game. You don't need to be a milsim, as in like a realism unit, or a serious milsim. You can have those lax, laid back type units, with fluctuating operation schedules or anything like that. There's dozens on those of those types units on our profile, um, or I mean platform. Being able to get your own profile like that and explain that with, as I said, those additional information, so that people can filter for, hey, I want a relaxed unit or a chill sim. Um, and ideally, as we continue to develop this, we're working on making the website better and better and better, so that filtering is kind of the next thing that we're working towards. Getting more redefined and having more options for these units to pick from, so that when somebody, a civilian or something like that, an individual wants to say, hey, I want uh, a, a filter for chill sim that plays on Fridays, and then it just shows all the units for that game on there. So that's kind of the intent a little bit. But to really that strong sense of community, you just got to grow that from within. It starts small, as a unit. Happy that some profiles that I see on our platform here are literally 5 people. You see the member count 5. I'm like, that's awesome. Of course, we have those that are 500, but I love seeing smaller units jump on the platform. Gives them a great opportunity to showcase themselves. Um, you know, we do have, of course, the voting, the daily voting that can help benefit, um, you know smaller units getting higher up on that list. Of course, larger units, if they're voting every day, it's a little harder to beat them. So some of our subscription tiers kind of help offset some of those X multiplier with votes. So it will benefit some of the smaller units as well. This whole platform is truly built for the medium to small size units, not the humongous units that they just have word of mouth for their PR team, right? When you have a couple hundred to 1,000 some people in your unit, that's a pretty well established unit. I don't know if they necessarily need a lot of help on the recruitment side of it. But being able to showcase those smaller to medium sized units is huge, and being able to foster that community within those and help them grow is really where it's all at.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. There's such a wide variety among the different unit types, operation times, the sizes, like you said, and absolutely, this is a chance for, like you said, the smaller and medium-sized units to help, the right people find the right unit for them. So, outstanding. Now, let's talk about, some of the challenges. I mean, yeah, there is a lot of opportunity for units to really grow and develop and build themselves up. But with every success, comes challenges that need to be overcome. So, can you tell us about some of the problems or the obstacles you've had to overcome in running a unit yourself, and how you that you beat them?
Well, I would say obviously every season that is a unit, right? You think about just a normal calendar year. There are highs and lows in online gaming, right? You get into beginning of the year probably pretty high. January time frame. You just got out of the holidays. You know. High school kids, some young adults, stuff like that, got new games. They're gonna get on a game. College kids, you're off for the entire month of January for the most part, in at least in the U.S. I can't confirm that worldwide, of course, but being able to, there's ups and flows online gaming, and there's high points and low points. So I would say that was challenging. As a unit leader is getting through those seasons of knowing that, okay, well, I know May is a pretty down month for online gaming, or at least milsim gaming, at least for my unit, um, because we had high school kids or we had college students as well. Well, what happens in May? There's a lot of like college tests and high school exams, and a lot of people just have to study and they can't game as much as they want to. So I mean, it's understanding those as a unit leader, knowing that you may have a down month, but that's okay. And there trust me, there's a lot more upper months than there are downer months when it comes to online gaming. There might be a couple, coming in September as well, right? Everybody goes back to school, August, September timeframe. So the summer might be pretty wishy-washy in terms of you might have some high spikes and low spikes. You got, you think about who's your clientele of people in your group or in your unit. Majority of them are going to be young adults, people that maybe still live with their parents. So being able to have to go on that family vacation, have to go take the weekend to go visit Uncle Bob in Canada, and not be able to game that weekend or anything like that. So I would say that's it. Is understanding that. And another one is, of course, recruitment. There's there everybody wants to have bigger units, which, I mean, awesome. My unit's no different. I mean, we're an infantry unit, and the more infantry we have, the funner we have, right? So the recruitment side of it also is huge. Um, I would say we are nowhere near to overcoming recruitment. I mean, we struggle just like everybody else. We have the down months, we have the upper months, but for the most part, it's just consistency, tracking where the highs and lows are, not panicking when you're only bringing in 1, 2 people in a month, and unfortunately probably lost 5 that just dropped off the face of the earth, and you never heard from again. But it's understanding those challenges and overcoming them, and it's just persistence. Keep the path. If your unit's been up longer than a year or 2 years, I would say at some point your unit won't fail, because the longer you're up, the more strengthened the core is. You're gonna have people come and go. My unit, we've been around for 20, you know 21 years, as a realism unit, and we've been as big as a couple hundred. We've been as small as a couple dozen, or a dozen, in that time frame. And that dozen wasn't just the beginning. That was less. That was within the last 10 years, 5 years. So we've again had our ups and downs, just like any unit. But it's all about the persistence and you pushing, as that unit leader or unit community leader.
All right. Well, let's say you're an experienced milsimmer. You've got experience in a prior unit, but you want to go out on a limb and start your own unit. What insights do you have for these upcoming leaders?
So to start your own unit, make a unit profile on milsimunits.com. My little plug. However, I would for sure understand that you got to know what makes you unique, right? Going and starting another Ranger battalion or Special Forces group, um, in my personal opinion, depends on how serious you want to be too. If you're gonna just go start a chill sim, you and a couple buddies, and see who you can grow off that, I don't think there needs to be much advice into that. I mean, that's just getting on when you guys can. You have a cool a schedule that's consistent with each other. Um, However, if you're looking more towards the milsim realism side of things, you gotta know that niche. You gotta know what you're going to be. I think of like some of these Ranger battalions or the tier one type stuff too. A lot of those pop up here and there, and they don't, always last as long as I think they could, because I think they just the leaders start off maybe too high in terms of like they give themselves colonel or general, and they're trying to fill in, they're a skeleton of a unit with people like colonels and majors and captains and all these, I would say, all these chiefs and no Indians necessarily, right? Not enough people to actually fulfill that unit. So as you start a unit, I would say start small. Start with that squad size element. You can grow into, I'll pick the 75th Rangers. You could grow into the 1st Battalion 75th Rangers, but what squad are you within what company of that 1st Battalion of what 1st Battalion and so forth. So start small and grow from there organically and naturally.
Yeah, solid advice, and it just makes sense logically, from a organizational standpoint. Now, with that being said, what's the best way for any unit to engage more fully with the greater community?
Well, we do have our Milsim Units Discord. If you're not in it already, please join it. I'd say the more the better. Our unit leaders, once they create a unit profile, go through a verification process that they're the unit leader, that they have their profile active on the website, and they get access to a unit leader area to where then they can collaborate and talk with other unit leaders. And has been a very popular chat on our Discord because it's unit leaders asking a lot of the common questions you ask me. What are some challenges? They talk about some maybe leadership stuff or expanding this section or even recruitment as well. We do also encourage other unit leaders, not necessarily the unit commander necessarily. We encourage get that XO, get that platoon sergeant. The more unit leadership of that community on that Discord or on our Discord as well is huge, because then again we have other areas for them. They self-select their own roles. There's also recruiters area as well, being able to talk with other unit recruiters, to where that's again a very popular area because we have a unit recruiter that comes up and says, hey, this person just joined my unit, you know um, did this negative thing and then discharged or left, or so we can kind of like spot the bad eggs, those that tend to DDoS you, or maybe aren't the highest of character, that are jumping from unit to unit doing the same thing. And this kind of allows us as units and the recruitment staff of these units to talk amongst themselves and say, hey, stay clear of this guy. If he comes in your Discord, just be weary of him. There's one person, um, that I won't name, but he's an ongoing joke to us in some sense, that he's been in every single unit, and we just flag it saying, hey, guess who showed up today? Trying to join our unit, or stuff like that, because he's just a chronic unit hopper. So being able to help other units stay clear of that, because it's unneeded stress, unneeded drama necessarily, in those groups. So um, that's really a lot of it, as you can get on that Discord and jump on and talk with fellow unit leaders. I mean, the amount of units that we have on this profile is humongous, and being able to utilize those resources of all those units by talking with them is huge.
Shoot, move, communicate.
Yeah.
Now, you've been in Milsim for many years now, an experienced leader. Uh, what do you think the evolution of Milsim gaming is going to look like overall, and what role is Milsim Units going to play in it?
Oh boy, I'm not sure if you saw some of the games that are on the horizon, coming out for. In fact, we put one on our platform right now with Bellum. Karma Cut is developing that game, and that's going to be huge for, I think, Milsim Gaming.
Oh
Done
yeah.
done right. He's obviously a humongous YouTuber. He's one of our community supporters within Milsim Units as well, by the work that he does to showcase us and helps get our name out there as well. I can't thank him enough for the support he's shown. Definitely with the subscriber count he has on his YouTube and the
Mm.
views he gets, for him to to allow us the opportunity, to be featured with him, and our unit, our Milsim units be put on his videos is huge. When there's quite a few of those, content creators, that was one of the main things, to kind of help catch those individuals, right? We talked about the chicken and the egg earlier, about trying to grab all the game units, and get them on the profile. One of my go-to-market strategies was enlist the content creators. As many content creators as I could get, whether they are small, medium, or large, like Karmatut or Maudog. Being able to get those to really get the word out of it. Some were costly because some were paid, sponsorships. Others not so much. It all depends really the subscriber count and what we negotiate. But we are still constantly looking for the right fit, and trying to, definitely, if you're in some of these games that maybe don't have too many. Units under them, and that in you as a content creator, there's a good chunk of units there. I know, Star Citizen right now is up for a vote, to being able to come onto the platform, and I think that qualifies as a Milsim unit. A Star Citizen is a pretty unique game, and it is military based, so I thought that was pretty cool. Some of the most recent ones, like I said, we just added Bellum on. When we initially launched, we didn't have things like DCS on the website. That was voted on. Squad 44, that was voted on and added to the website as well. So evolution, I think, is getting these games, whether they are incoming, as in going to be released soon, or maybe there's a completely different Milsim, community game out there that again, my world has been Arma, and very limited on all other games. So if I'm missing something, and that there's a large community out there, please put it in the description or in the channels below, or in the comments, I mean, and be able to let us know. Get on our Discord. There's an area to where you can request games to be added to the website, and then it's voted on by the community if it's worth it, right? To be added. And for sure, I'll definitely start looking into those communities, because I think it's huge to be able to grow the games, grow the community leaders that are on the platform, and then be able to, as cool games and new games come out. I know there's another one like Delta Force that's coming out. It's not on the platform yet. I haven't myself looked into it too much, and what that community looks like. But there's plenty of Milsim games coming out, or have come out recently. So I think Milsim Units will continue to be busy, and our part in playing in that is just being ready for that, and adding the game if it's popular and something that our community leaders and commanders are going to utilize and put on their profiles. Then I think it's worth it. So, because it just helps them get more exposure. So.
All right. Well, what social media are Milsim units on? Where can our audience find you?
So we post pretty well daily on our X account. So at Milsim Units on X.com. To where there we actually, every unit that creates a unit profile on our website, we post about. We put a welcome post about them, a little bit of snippet about it. It's like their first PR push, about what unit they are, where you can find them in terms of coming to milsimunits.com, what games they play, their unit name, a quick synopsis about what they do, or like, what they've typed out as well. So we post that on X, constantly. There's such a backlog because, like I said, I've been posting. I post pretty well every day, if not for sure every other day, along with other content there, because then there's holidays and cool events, and we've gone through and we sponsored, we're to the point to where now we're sponsoring things. We're not getting sponsored. We're sponsoring, some tournaments, within Squad. That's been recent. I could talk a little bit more about that, but being able to utilize the social media platforms. X is a big one for us. We're on Facebook. We post sporadically there. I myself can get better there. I think there is an audience for a lot of our games there. and being able to post there. I sporadically look through the channels that I'm the pages, I should say, the pages on Facebook, and see what I can. I see people saying, "Hey, I'm looking for a unit," and I hop on there. Hey, check out milsimunits.com. If you're looking for a unit, just things like that. But being able to post there as well. We do have our own YouTube channel as well, which we're hoping to continue to grow with this podcast, as well as put out some. I have done a couple live streams on there to where I have been invited as the Milsim Units, um, you know, leader. I don't know what you call myself, but CEO. I don't know. I'm just a Milsim Units guy. But be able to, I've been invited to a couple communities that have used our platform, that are on our platform, to like some of their bigger events, and was able to stream and add extra exposure to them. So if you got an event that's coming up and I'm free, or hell, even Brock, you're more than welcome to jump in on that on our behalf, and being our lead moderator, and being able to just add content, and really the whole purpose of all our social media platforms, X, Facebook, YouTube, the website, is be able to help these units get more exposure, get more eyes on them, and we do that through us supporting them by showing up and being there for them. So.
Roger that. Outstanding. And I just got to say, if the boot fits, wear it. So we're going to dub you the Milsim Units Commander. You've earned it. So now that we know where we can find you, I mean, you've got great coverage all over the online community world. So how can our listeners get more involved with Milsim Units?
Well, it really depends on what you are, right? Are you a unit that is looking to create a profile? Then obviously head to milsimunits.com. Um, if you are a individual looking for a group in a milsim game like Arma, Armor Forger, Squad, War of Rights, Hell Let Loose, Insurgency, Tarkov, DCS, I could go name and name. I mean, Gray Zone Warfare, that's fairly new to the platform. Ground Breach, our branch, I mean, being able to, if you're looking for a unit to go play with, head to milsimunits.com. I mean, that's the focal point of the website. We did not start any of our social media or even our Discord to grow it that way. We're there to focus individual people looking for groups to milsimunits.com so that they can find their their home, right? A unit that they can call home, have a place to chill in the evenings, on the weekends, whenever they're free. And the goal is for them to be able to find that next group that they can have and build lifelong friendships with.
All right. It's great to hear. I'm really looking forward to seeing how this pans out in the future, being part of the community with you. Now, you mentioned earlier in the podcast about the new subscription tiers on Milsim Units. How do they help units and their development?
So actually, if you're listening on YouTube, there's an entire YouTube video breaking down really our tiers. So kind of high level about our subscription tiers is that there's three tiers. Ideally, this isn't I want to make sure I make it clear that this isn't a money grab. I did not make Milsim Units to be a money thing. This is not a retirement plan for me whatsoever. It's 100% about supporting the community. A lot of this money goes back into paying our developer, right? Our developers as well as they continue to develop the website. But for the most part, this money goes right back into a lot of the PR, a lot of the Google ads, a lot of the social media ads to draw people looking for groups here so that you have a better opportunity as a unit leader to be able to grab those people. Obviously, I can't guarantee that if you are a part of a subscription tier, that means you're going to get, 20 recruits a month or 5 recruits a week or something like that. There's still the part of as a unit, you have to run your unit as such, as a unit leader, as a unit commander, that is attractive. As I mentioned earlier, with those units that start off as 5 people and there's 4 of them are officers and you have 1 private, and that's not real. That's not going to be very entertaining, or people aren't going to really respond to that too well, I guess you could say, right? They're not going to say, oh yeah, I want to go join that. Maybe I can be the PFC. Maybe I could go be the Command Sergeant Major. There's not a lot of substance there. So running your unit correct, and I'm going to say a lot of units do. I'm very proud with the amount of people that we have on our platform. But the subscription tiers, for the most part, just again add extra visibility. So we have 3 tiers. Tier 3 is our lowest level. Tier 2 is our medium. Tier 1 is like our top tier, right? Tier 1 special forces. That's kind of the design of them. Each tier, if you purchase tier 2, you get all the perks of tier 3 and tier 2. If you purchase tier 1, you have all the perks through 1, 2, and 3. So they really compound themselves. And for the most part, there's just things on there like spotlight banners. Instead of you having to, rank yourself up on the website with daily votes, there's abilities to get yourself and your profile image, whether that's your avatar or whether that's a bigger picture of your like avatar and banner, put out there on the website outside of the ranking things. Just again adds a little extra. We do have some unique things with like our social medias and media Discord pings on our website as well, or I mean on our Discord. Um, so like we have some units that are in part of these tiers that when they post their new YouTube video that they just posted, it posts in our Discord automatically. Same thing with any social medias that they carry that is supported by the bots. Of course, it's limited to that, but being able to have those auto ping, it just adds extra visibility, an extra view to their YouTube video when they go live on Twitch or Kick or anything like that. It pings on our Discord. And these are part of some of the perks that are in these tiers. The big one that's huge, that I think is a part of all of them, including the lowest tier, is our Discord voting bot. It's been I'll be honest, it's been a pain to get built and maintain. We're still in today having, we're finding issues with it and trying to troubleshoot and get it fixed. And I appreciate those that are helping us, those units that are paid subscribers right now, helping us get that fine-tuned and fixed. Really appreciate those units. But what the voting bot does is that it pings your personal Discord, so your unit's Discord, and kind of tells your group, hey, vote today, because votes reset every day. Every day at midnight EST, they reset. So you could have 15 votes today. Well, tomorrow you're at 0 until you actually hit that vote button. So what this does is kind of reminds your Discord saying, hey, and you could set a lot of the permissions on that it doesn't need to ping the entire Discord. It can ping a specific user group. It could ping in a specific channel that only has access to an X amount of people. So things like that are customizable. But then being able to say, hey, go vote today. And since that's gone live on a lot of these units, it's increased their votes humongously. And ideally, the whole point of the website is the more votes you have, the higher you are on that list. The higher you are on that list are the first eyes that land on you when somebody's looking for a unit, right? If you're in that number one position, you're in that number one position because you have a great community that votes daily. So people coming and seeing that you're in that number one position, that are looking for a squad to join in, say, squad or Hell Let Loose, and see you're in that number 1, 2, or 3 position, knows that you're an active community. They're going to look at you more seriously than if you are, 30 some units down the page. So that's some of the cool things about the subscription tiers. But definitely, if you haven't already, you can check out that video on our page as well, here on our YouTube page.
Roger that. We'll have to link it here in the video description.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, legit, you're offering units some really serious and effective tools, and I think it's a really approachable investment. If you want to consider it that with the price points, and again, you're giving people options to help them and their units grow and move forward into the future of our community here. So a lot of great information here. We've really done a deep dive into Milsim Units and its background, what it is, what it offers, where it's going. As always, LaFlash, it's been great talking with you, getting into the lore. Definitely looking forward to to keeping these podcasts going. I want to thank you for joining me for our inaugural broadcast here. Before we wrap up for the evening, any final thoughts?
I am um, so blown away by the support, by how Milsim units have been, um, you know, taken by the community. As I said in the beginning, it was a lot of door to door, but that in some point it just became a rolling rolling ball forward, and it has been amazing to see. It's amazing to talk with these unit leaders and recruiters and the people on the Discord asking just questions, um, whether they are 20-year vets maybe like myself that's leading a unit, or somebody that just is a 15-year-old starting their first. You know. And it's been amazing. I'm very proud to announce, as of today, we rolled over our 300th unit. Being able to have a profile and be on the platform has been huge, and being able to have 300 already, and we're not even 300 days in to the existence of the website. So I mean, when we launched this in early 2024 here, I mean, our first profile started on, I think, February 5th, and that was, a couple of the units that I work closely with in Arma, as I kind of use them as like the quick beta testers and the testy people, to test, make sure things worked right when they first started their profile. Of course, my unit, when I started that profile, um, it was really only 260 some days ago, and we're past that. So to have an average of over one unit join per day since the founding of this platform, um, just blew my mind. And I can't thank the support that I've gotten from the community and Milsim community itself. The kind words that I've heard from so many of these like bigger units saying, "Oh yeah, this is awesome. Having something like this is amazing." Um, Talking with the content creators that have that helped us, like Karmatut and Maudog, and there's quite a few of them that have jumped in. Liru, Lance Corporal Liru has been huge as well in helping promote the Milsim units, and being able to you know have them fully trust and put their own community behind Milsim units by sponsoring us and saying, hey, yeah, go check them out, you got to check this out. It's worth something. Again, just completely honored, completely blown away with the support, and looking forward to finishing 2024 strong, um, continuing to reinvest the subscription funds that come in back in to be able to continue to advertise for those individuals to come find groups, as well as continue to sponsor events as well. I missed even talking about the sponsorships that we've done, and being able to host tournaments or be sponsors of tournaments and help our name get out there and help promote that tournament as well. And always looking for those right opportunities, and how we can help each other, um, is has been huge. But um, final thoughts is just thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Has been a wild ride, and very grateful, very.
Outstanding. You've got a great thing going here. Uh, Looking forward to the next 300. So, with that, ladies and gents, we are going to wrap it up tonight. I want to thank everyone for joining us with this inaugural podcast. We'll be back again very soon, highlighting some of the units that are, kind of leading the community, if you will. So, until next time, this is C. Brock signing out.